we are going to study APG Edge platform. Okay, so for Google for our development. So let me start with slide. So yeah, first thing first, what we are going to learn. So start with overview. So we are going to use Google Apigee Edge platform to do the API design, implement, deploy, publish, and manage APIs and the API lifecycle. So end-to-end whole API lifecycle management we'll study, and we will design and document APIs using industry standards and best practices. So basically for API design and documentation, we use open API specs or Swagger. So we will not study in depth, but at least in the context of APG, we will cover open API specs and Swagger as well. And we will even use open API spec for our labs and practicals. And we will use APG Edge out of the box policies to add the security to APIs, because for any API gateway, not just for APG, for any gateway, security is the most important thing, the most important use case. And APG is equipped with all the latest security standards and protocols support. So we can see how we can secure APIs from the content level attack, from access level attacks, and from even DDoS attacks, traffics, and all those stuff, rate limits, everything from security point of view we will cover. And APG is one of the few gateways which have the ability to out of the box feature to do the transformation and mashup. So you can transform some one kind of JSON to another kind of JSON, or JSON to XML, XML to JSON, that transformation, and you can do the mashup. So here you can mash up the backend APIs, call multiple backend services, combine their response and clean, make it more simple, straightforward API response for the client, so that you can easily do with APG. So all these things we will cover. We will see the topic. We will go through the labs also. We'll do it hands-on. Okay, and this is about development from APG point of view, but also we will see the consumption part. So how we can allow that developer to easily consume APIs by using a portal and live documentation. So that part also we will cover. So we'll see from the publishing API. So you build API, you publish API, then how a consumer comes. So there will be API consumer who are your I mean, those are also developers. So here when we talk about developer portal, it is for API consumer portal. So API portal where a consumer developer can come, he can see, okay, the API specification, he can go register, create the API keys, credentials, everything, and then make the call and do the integration. So all these things also we will cover. So basically publishing and subscribing API, everything we will cover as part of this training. Okay. So here for labs, so we are going to use APG Edge. So I will right now, actually APG has stopped giving APG Edge accounts because it is been discontinued. But I have one very old account of mine which I use for I mean, it is old client account which is not being used right now. So I will share the credentials, okay, and create one, share the credentials with you, and in that APG org we will do the labs, okay, and we will practice there itself. Previously APG used to provide free evaluation orgs and everything for APG Edge, but they have stopped APG Edge. Now APG is using APG has a new subscription called APG X, but for APG X you need to purchase or give your credit card and everything and buy a Google Cloud, so it is a bit risky to do that. Okay, so that's why I don't do it. And APG Edge and X, in terms of feature, pretty much same, whatever you can do in APG Edge. From development point of view, only they have just added APG X as part of you can say part of now Google Cloud itself, so they have added something there. But in terms of the development now, it is pretty much same. Whatever you do in APG Edge, same thing is there in APG X. A little bit few things are just I mean newly added, but I think most of the things are same. So from development point of view, whatever you do here, same thing you can do on APG X as well. Okay. So that's one. And here for APG, so we don't really need much. We need only two things. We'll need the browser on the, because APG development is mostly we are going to do from the browser itself. It is cloud based, so from the browser we'll access and do all the things. So that will be the login.apg.com. That is the link. And we need Postman. So I hope you already would be having Postman. If not, you can download Postman. So Postman will be used for testing purpose. Okay, so for development we'll use browser and do that, and for only for testing we will need Postman. Okay, so that those two things are more than sufficient. We don't need anything else. Yeah, and I will share my credentials when we do that lab, and also before
Sure.
that we'll share my credentials and everything. Okay, so for that.
Good.
And
Yeah.
uh, sorry, do you have any questions?
No, no, I'm good. Thanks.
Okay. So now, in terms of agenda, so this is total 24 hour. Usual duration is 24-hour, give and take. So it is not like hard and fast. Yeah, we can, if needed, we can stretch also, not an issue. So this is like agenda. Day one is like 8 hours. So it is like usually it is 3 full days training, which um, um, we used to give from Google Office also. And this training material is official Google Cloud training material. That's why you see the Google Cloud logo, because I'm one of the very few Google authorized APG trainers, and I have given like a lot of training to hundreds of people for on this, for even from a Google Office also. So this is like a day one, like first 8 hours. Okay, so in the first 8 hours, we'll start with APG Edge overview. We'll understand the product. We'll understand API lifecycle. We'll understand the concept of organization, environment, all these things. Okay. So what exactly is there? What is the meaning of these things? And then we'll move to chapter number two. Chapter two will be again to understand the basics. We'll understand REST API design. Part one of the basics of REST API design. Then we'll understand Open API specs, and we will cover Open API specs there, and also we'll cover API first approach. So these are chapter 1 and 2. These are mostly theoretical bits because this is to set up the base. And then from chapter number 3, we will move to APG Edge. So we'll understand the basics of API proxies. We will understand what is a proxy endpoint, what is a virtual host, what are condition flows and policies, and what is the target endpoint, route rule, target servers, all these concepts. So we'll understand all these concepts, and our lab also will start from this APG Edge. And there are two kind of labs. I don't know if I did I tell. So in the lab there are two kind of lab. I forgot. Sorry. So one is like we have one which we are going to cover as part of the training itself. Okay, and then there are supplemental labs. Supplemental labs you can do on your time by following those steps. Okay, on your own. So that way what happens is you don't, whenever you get time you can do those labs. So you understand it a lot more better way. And in case you face any problem during any of those labs by in following instructions and all, then we can cover that as part of the training itself. You can tell me, we can spend few minutes fixing those. Okay,
Got it. Okay.
those. So there are total around 13 labs which are as part of the training, and 8 or 9, I forgot, are supplemental. So which supplemental, yeah, which the participant is supposed to do by following the instructions and everything. Okay.
Sure.
So, but yeah, the lab start from chapter number 3. Then we move to next top chapter, which is the concept of API product. So we will understand what exactly is API product, what is a developer, what is app, what are the API keys for security, and then we'll understand what are the strategies for API product. And we will also go through in the REST API design, second part, which is how to design the responses properly. So that will be chapter number 4. Okay. And we will have some labs also for that. And so that is the first 8 hours. Next 8 hours, the predominantly the time will be spent on API security part, because API security is like the biggest topic and the most important topic as well. And we will understand what are the main API security concerns. We'll understand the concept of identity, authentication, and authorization. What is different? Because a lot of time people get confused. And then we will understand OAuth. OAuth is in terms of security, like OAuth is right now a must-have knowledge for everyone, because not just in APG but in the world of APIs. Even someone doing a Java, Node.js, or whatever, Python APIs, or even using other gateways, some MuleSoft or anything, any API gateway or any API platform you are using, even normal Java code or whatever, OAuth is like a must-have for everyone, because this is like the kind of a de facto security standard for all the APIs. So we'll understand introduction about OAuth, various grant types. OAuth has different grant types. What is a client credential grant? What is password grant? What is authorization code grant? and some other miscellaneous things, and how APG supports OAuth, and we will have some lab also. Okay.
Okay.
And then we will understand some latest concept like JWT, JWS, SAML, and OpenID Connect. So what are these protocols and standards, and how APG supports those? And we will understand how to protect against security, so content-based attacks like SQL injections and some JSON threat protection, XML threat protection, those kind of things. And then we will understand transport security, so that TLS, mutual TLS, and all those stuff. So we'll understand that as well. And we will understand edge management security. So within APG, what are the ways to secure the APIs from the role-based access controls and everything? What are there? So edge management security also we will cover that. So
Okay.
all these things will be part of the API security. Okay. And then we have this mediation. So mediation will have to uh, understand the concept of JSON, XML, and SOAP. Okay. And then we need to have uh, mediation and service callout policies. We will understand the custom coding, how to add a custom code, concept of shared flow, basically, which is nothing but a code reusability and fault handling. So all these things will come under mediation. So there we will cover all these topics and labs as well. So this is, yeah, so this will be in the next 8 hours. In the final 8 hours we'll have four chapters. So we'll start with traffic management, where we will understand rate limiting with spike arrays and quotas and caching, and we will have labs as well. And then we'll have API publishing part, where the developer portal come into picture. We will see the developer portals, the concept of developer portal, why we need, how it works. Okay. And how we can make it easy for consumer. And we will also see the versioning of APIs, what are the best ways to do the versioning. So this will be chapter number 8. So lab will be till chapter number 8 only. 9, 10, again, these are again theoretical topics, so where we will just understand some other APG features and policies for message logging, how to use stack drivers, how to use analytics, how to use monitoring, security reporting, and some other things like the components of APG Edge, what are the deployment options, okay, extensions, offline development, CI/CD, and all those stuff, and some advanced labs. It is, there is no labs as such, but some advanced topics and all that we'll cover. Okay.
Yeah.
So overall, this will be the complete one. So, and as part of this training, we'll take one use case of a retail sector use case. Okay, we'll build a retail API, and what we'll do is we'll start building. So we'll cover a topic, we'll do the lab, and in the same use case, we'll try to add more and more features. So we'll start from the basic scratch. Okay, we'll build that API from the scratch, and then as we cover the topic, we'll keep adding those specific policies there. So that way, we will try to make it as near to a real life APG project. Okay, a real life APG API development by picking up one API example. Okay, so that is the yeah, so that will do. So any questions so far in terms of agenda or anything?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good.
Okay. One more thing. So from your, can I know what is your background in terms of APIs? Are you familiar with other gateways or anything and all? So that if you can give me, because it will help me pace the training and
Oh, God. Yeah,
understand.
yeah, sure. Sure. So you see, I'm a I'm a business analyst. Okay. So
Okay.
I dealt with this API design. So I used to map the uh, request and response. What should be the parameters in the request, and what the response should be, right? So I was part of that, but I am not aware of this API security and what are the important things that should be considered while doing the API design and API documentation. So I would like to go through those things, and I would like to get a certification in APG so that I can prove I can say myself as a business analyst who is expert at the API things.
Okay. The thing is that APG has stopped this certification now. Okay. They
Hmm.
were supposed to bring a new certification, but they have not yet done. Previously, this used to be the course that we are covering. That used to be the standard for APG certification and everything. But
Hmm.
now they have stopped the certification, APG certification altogether. Okay.
Okay.
So, but I think these from here, what you say, GoLogica, you can ask for them for like a training certificate, all they might provide. But now
Hmm.
official Google has discontinued the APG certification now.
Okay, okay, that's fine. All right.
Yeah. And during the course of the training, we will cover a lot of this lot of webs these links and websites. Okay, so here, for example, we will the one thing which we will visit a lot will be the APG uh, document this documentation docs.apg.com, because most of the things are there only, and we will tell how you can uh, how you can utilize the APG documentation effectively during the work, how to go through the policies, how to check for certain features, everything. So that we will see. Okay, and apart from that, APG has a very good and very active community. It is now the cloud.google.com/community. So during project also, if we ask the questions and all, many times people are very fast and people help with answers quickly. So even during project, you can post it, and many times the question that you might be having, that already it might be answered. So people, a lot of people go there and you can find answers and all. And there are some I will also share some important links with you as we cover some topics. And also this also this thing, there are some APG code samples and everything, working code samples and all, some uh, what you say, GitHub links, some GitHub links for APG working code samples and all, that I will that also I will share with you over the course of the training. Okay, so that will go through. So yeah, that was a brief overview about the topics and everything. Okay, so now going to start with the first part, which is product overview. So, in terms of API design, all that you are familiar, right? REST APIs, what are the REST API? Why do we have REST APIs? All these things you, as you do mapping and also, at least the concepts, at least you are familiar, correct?
Yeah, I am aware of this REST APIs and
You are not
uh,
just that you need to understand the tool and product and the gateway part, not the conceptual, like what, why do we need API and what is API?
I mean, here, though I know, I want you to cover
Yes, yes.
everything so that if I miss
Correct.
anything, maybe I will learn that.
Yeah, obviously. No, I'm only asking because sometimes people, many times I have trained people who don't understand. I mean, who do not have any background, so that's why. So at
Okay.
least you can at least relate when I explain few things. At least you can relate.
Right,
But
right.
obviously,
Yes.
anytime you feel like asking anything, you don't have to wait for me to ask. You can ask anytime. Okay, so please feel
Sure.
free to yeah, stop me and ask. Now,
Okay.
so as you have you mentioned you have worked with on the API side as a from the um, uh, the BA role, and you have yeah, done all the mappings and all. So as you might relate to this part, so think in see here in industries. So in industries, at least in old times, right? Old times, usually what we have is we have multiple systems, right? From a very long time, we have this kind of thing there. You will have lot of different data sources, correct? They will have data lake, they will have data warehouse, they have multiple databases, they will have a service oriented like soap services and all those stuff, web method soap services, those kind of thing. They will have CRM, ERP, all kind of thing, right? So they will have all different kind of systems. Okay, and all these internal different systems, and they will interact with each other using some integration platform, correct? So there will be integration platform, or
Mhm.
we call them ESB, enterprise service bus, right? This ESB or integration platform, what it does is it enabled different systems to interact with each other, correct? So they will it will do the transformation. So it will take data from one place, it will transform the data as per the other system, or do the vice versa, right? So it will internally take care of all the basically all the integration. Okay, so different system can work with each other in harmony, correct? But that works fine as long as data is within the network. So if data is within the network and all, it this system works fine. Okay, but and also these are like very old systems, and because of the process and all, if you want to make any change, so if you want to make any change here in internal in the big corporates, right? In the big corporations, big enterprises, the pace of the change is very slow. So the change take years. If you want to bring any new feature, bring any new system, bring anything new, correct, it will be very slow. It has to go through a lot of processes, lot of things. Sometimes you don't know this, you don't know that, right? So if you build something from the scratch, you add a new, you want to add a new system, or you want to add a new layer and all, that can take very long time, correct? So that uh, pace of the change here is very slow because it can take years. But now, as we know, because of the new requirements, the new requirement is making your internal systems, correct, making your internal systems or internal services available as an API for third parties. Either it can be even third party, even for internal, either it can be internal or third parties, both, correct? So
Right.
now the requirement is like, yeah, all the features that you are having, all the features or all the capabilities that you are having, expose this as an API, and then you can build different kind of apps. Even right now we have mobile apps, right? We have mobile apps, we have a web application, we have other front end application, we have the tabs, correct? We have even smart devices now, all the internet of thing, right? Is smart home, smart car, smart appliances, everything, like all the electronic devices are becoming smart, correct? So we have all the smart apps, and all kind of apps. And these apps can be for like your end customers. It can even be internal apps which are for employees, that is possible. And it can also be for partners, right? It can be sometime for partner business to business call, right? So it can be any kind of app. Now the thing is that if you want to build a system or build something from the scratch to facilitate this, if you want to build something which to facilitate this feature, that make everything available as an API, that could be very slow. If you build something from the scratch, okay, it will take very long time. And by the time you build it, there are good chances your competitor would already have built it, and the competitor will gain some kind of advantage, right? So they will gain some kind of advantage or lead over you because of that, correct? So because of this, and also when you want to cater to these new requirements, right? And here one more thing, as you know, here in this layer, this mobile app layer, here the change becomes very quick. So they can build mobile apps very real quick. Okay, they can
Right.
build within few days to few weeks, they can go to production. So here the any new development and all, that is very quick and very fast, and that can go there. Now this layer cannot match to this because this is very slow. Here the change is very slow. On the upper layer, on the mobile apps and the apps layer, front end layer, basically the changes are very fast, correct? Now also when you are making anything available, when you are making anything available to outside world, correct? Even for internal or outside world as an API. So when you want to expose your features as an API, so there are multiple challenges. Most important is obviously security, because if it is available, then people will try to hack it, obviously. Then also it should be able to scale, because sometimes when you start with something, you notice within few days, initial few days or few weeks, it is getting less traffic, but suddenly it can become popular overnight. There can be a lot of consumers, apps and their end users and all, and you can get a lot of traffic out of sudden. So your infrastructure, okay, should be able to handle that. You should be able to scale up or down based on requirement, and you should be able to manage which system is consuming, what exactly is consuming, is it going to get whatever it is supposed to get, or is it getting extra. Everything you should be able to manage. What are the APIs getting, what are the new APIs are we do, what, how to upgrade them, how to decommission them, everything that you should be able to manage all the systems. Okay, consumers, you can manage the APIs, consumers, everything. And also there will be lot of data that is coming from outside world to your system, and lot of data which is uh, going from inside to outside world. So you can get a lot of information, and that you can use that information to build all the analytics. Okay, analytics and reporting, graphs, charts, all kind of thing you can do. So that could be really useful for you. So you can use analytics also. And also another important thing is that you should be able to provide them connected experience, so that any kind of consumer, whether it is a web application, mobile application, or smart device, any kind of application, they should be able to call your API or integrate with your APIs or your system using a common standard framework, right? Common uniform way. There should not be any difference. And when one platform is making change, so for example, if you are making change from mobile app, that should be visible from the web application also, right? So that way, any changes that are uh, getting done, they should be reflected in the real time across all the channels. So basically, we call it a connected experience. So that way, and the common framework that we use is basically REST. Correct? REST is a common framework, right? That is a set of standards that is every kind of application can follow the REST standards, and they can call your APIs via REST standards, and make by following REST, and they can consume APIs, and whenever you are making change from one platform, that will be obviously available to the other platform. Okay, so these are the things. These are the things you have to make sure these things are available out of the box. And if, as I mentioned, if you want to build these kind of things, okay, from the scratch, then what happens is it can take very long time. So this is where APG comes into picture. So all these five important things which I told: security, scalability, management, analytics, connectivity, all those things which are provided by APG Edge as out of box feature. Okay, so that way you don't need to build these things from the scratch, because internally you will already be having a lot of APIs. Okay, a lot of APIs will already be there. This ESB integration platform, they will be able to talk to databases or different system and create APIs. But then main problem is that creating is fine, but exposing them to outside world is a challenging, where we discuss these 4 5 important things. So this is where APG Edge comes into picture. So it will fulfill those requirements, it will fill that gap. So that way you can expose your APIs to outside world at a very fast pace. Within few days or few weeks, you can make it go live. Okay, and then that way your consumer can build all the innovative apps. So the speed of innovation increases, so they can build all the nice innovative apps, digital apps and everything. And APG Edge is by default, APG comes into APG is a distributed platform. Distributed as in the platform comes into multiple servers. So when you are installing APG Edge or APG Edge is installed, it is usually installed on multiple servers. So that way what happens is it can easily scale also. Okay, if the traffic comes, and also because it is having distributed architecture, so that way even if one server down, if one server goes down, your other servers are up, so your runtime traffic is not impacted and your missing critical data is safe. So APG will store data in, when I say data, I mean not the customer data and all the stuff, but API traffics and all. So your any kind of the tokens or consumer information, those kind of data, that will be safe. Okay, because it is replicated in multiple systems, and also the API traffic will not impact it, because if one is down, other will continue to serve the traffic. So that way your mission critical uh, systems are always up and running. Okay, so that these are the benefits that APGS provides. So I hope this part is clear to you, or if
Yeah,
you need doubt, please let me know.
we are good. We are good.
All right. So now in APG, we implement something called digital value chain. Now, what exactly mean by this digital value chain? So basically, usually let's say there is a database. Okay, in any big enterprise. Okay, in big enterprise there is some database which is there. Now the management sees, okay, we have this lot of data which is there in the database. It is just lying around, it is not being used. So they will see, okay, there is a lot of data which we feel can be used, it can be used for something, but we don't know what it will be used for. Okay, so what they will do is they will form an API team. So that API team will be the team which will build an API. That API will call the database, process the data and all those stuff, and expose API. That API will be in one of the traditional platforms. When I say traditional, it can be Java, it can be Node.js, it can be any Python or whatever, PHP, Python, any even .NET, whatever, any platform. So it will be built in any traditional programming language and all, build one API. That API will have the business logic. It will talk to database directly, get implement a certain functionality. Okay. So that API team will build API. Now comes the challenge that we discussed, making care of security, even making sure that analytics, the data is connected, experience, all those kind of things. So this is where APG comes into picture. So remember that APG will not have the functional logic. Okay, APG doesn't contain the actual functional logic of the API. Okay, or business logic. The business logic or functionality is implemented on some the backend service. We call it backend service or target service. Okay, which is built in either Java or some platform or whatever. Okay, so that is there. APG will only expose the back service to outside world. So APG will enable this API to be consumed by some outside developer. Okay, it will take care of security, it will take care of performance, it will take care of rate limiting, all those other things. So all the basically when we discussed about requirement, so functional requirements are taken care of by this API team, which will build the API, which has the business logic, and most of the non-functional requirements are taken care by APG. This is where we come into picture in APG. Okay, so we don't actually have the business logic, but we take care of all the security and other other non-functional requirements, security, performance, and all the other things to make it available to consumer. So any consumer, so this developer, they will see that API. Either we will share it manually using Postman or Open API specs or whatever something, or we will have a developer portal. So this developer will come, developer will see the specification, and developer will see, okay, this is what I have to build. Okay. So the developer will go create an account, register himself. Developer will register his mobile apps information, so that he will register that, okay, I'm going to consume this API to build an app. So when you will register the application, developer will get API key, secret, those kind of thing. Okay, and then developer will write his presentation logic, right? So we'll build a mobile app. Now here, so this here when they make the API, this is usually JSON, correct? So you talk to database, get a data, expose as JSON. Here also we say most of the time it will be JSON data, right? So you have the URL and everything, and put the JSON data. This developer will build a presentation logic, will add a UI in a nice presentable way. It will have the API key secret, so that it will authenticate from the app. It will build a nice UI, make it easy, and then this app will be used by a customer. That customer can be a non-technical person. It can be housewife, it can be doctor, lawyer, whatever, student, anything, a non-technical person also, right? So they can use that. Now here, as you see, in order to provide this data that is just lying around, in order to provide this data to the customer, every uh, layer here, every component is forming a chain. So and they are adding a value, correct? So API team adds certain value, then this API gateway APG we and add certain value, then developer will add a value, app will add a value, and finally it will be delivered to customer. Okay, so we call it a digital value chain, because they are forming a chain to deliver a value in a digital application, right? So we call it a digital value chain, and this digital value chain provides a connected experience. A very good example of connected experience is, let's say, Facebook, correct? In Facebook, you upload a photo from your mobile, correct? You upload a photo from mobile app, and at the same instant, if you log in from website, go to facebook.com and log in from your laptop, okay, you will see the photo that you uploaded is immediately visible on your from laptop also, right? So you are making change from one channel or one source, that same is visible to other source. Same thing, let's say you using a net banking app, correct? From net banking app or mobile banking app, you make a data transfer from your mobile banking and all, or you even do a WhatsApp banking, correct? Right now WhatsApp banking is there, WhatsApp banking or mobile banking. So you make a transaction from one source, immediately if you log in from other source, okay, you can see that uh, 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 the change is reflected, right? So amount will be deducted or whatever. Okay, so that is the idea. So yeah, so usually these things are within our, within hosted by, not hosted but within the company connect, the enterprise controlled environment or system. and other these can be either internal application, it can be third party, we don't know, right? So but these things are, so these things will be combined to deliver the value, publish it, and this is the subscription part. Okay, so
I'd like to ask one question here.
yeah, tell me.
So you said the business logic would be at the back end, and
Correct.
the API team will decide what to expose, like the functional requirements, and
Yes,
the Apigee will handle the non-functional requirements like security, all these things,
correct.
right? Okay, got it. Thanks. Yeah, I'm good.
The backend of APG has to be an API. Remember, if it is not an HTTPS, APG cannot call it. Remember that. Okay. So there are certain things. So like if you want to talk to database, you cannot call it from APG, or you want to send an email from SMTP, you cannot call it from APG, or any what they call queue, right? Message queue or whatever. You
Yes,
cannot
yes.
call it from APG. You need to have a backend service or API that will take care. APG will call the backend service. It has to be a REST or a SOAP. It has to be basically
Rest.
something on HTTPS URL. As simple as that.
It's yeah. Okay, got it.
Now APG, so the APG features are uh, the whole platform is classified in the four different categories. Okay, so first category is to developer ecosystem. So here we have all these things like APG. So right now this developer ecosystem, APG. See, previously APG used to provide a portal. Okay, now APG have they have made it open source. Okay, APG doesn't maintain the portal anymore. From the time Google acquired it, okay, from last 7 8 years, so APG has published their portal, which is nothing but a Drupal. So they used to maintain a Drupal portal, but now they have made it open source. They have published a Drupal module. So APG has published some Drupal module for the portal, and people many time people use that module and use that Drupal portal. Okay, so APG provides features like API catalog. It can provide client SDKs and API product that is to be consumed by the consumer. Okay, and API monetization. If you want to generate revenue, so this monetization is APG has a separate monetization module. It is a feature. You need to pay extra money to enable it. Okay, in the default product you will not get, but monetization is not that successful. Okay, very rarely. I mean, very actually we are very rarely you will see monetization being used. Okay, by anyone. And
Can
then
you give an
market.
example for API monetization?
So monetization, very good example is like you have Twilio APIs, correct? Twilio, you have SMS and this thing, correct? SMS API, payment API, correct? No, not payment, sorry, email API, correct? Twilio SMS or Twilio email. So that's why you can subscribe to the API, and then based on your consumption, it will charge you like this. Okay. So that so they will have the model to subscribe. It will capture bank account, everything. It will internally keep a track of count, everything, and then you can define what is success criteria. For example, do you want to treat any say 400 request also as success, or you want a backend success as a success, right? So that those kind of criteria you can define, and then based on that you can, yeah, charge the customer or anything. And prepaid billing, postpaid billing, all kind of things you can manage. Okay, using that. And you can even generate reports which are important for like consumer also, and for your own purpose also. Okay, so yes. And yeah, and then we have a, yeah, API marketplace is nothing but all your APIs from different departments, everything is all available on the portal, single place. Okay, so that yeah, so that is there in the developer ecosystem part. Then analytics. So just few minutes back I explained that, okay, lot of data, usually see API APG layer is going to be common. So let me go back quickly for this document. Here you see sometime this integration, even in this integration platform, okay,
Mhm.
they can have one integration or multiple integration platform, correct? So sometimes they will have a backend REST APIs, sometimes they will use like IBM IIB or MuleSoft or anything. So they people use multiple these things. So there can be multiple n number of different backends. Okay, but this APG layer, this layer is going to be same. This layer is a single layer to internal APIs, external API, all kind of thing. This is the common, correct? So
Yeah.
whatever comes from outside world in your network, what is exposed from your network to outside world, all the data, everything, that will become the single source of truth, because all the data is transferring through this platform, correct? So here lot of meaningful information can be captured. So APG captures, APG does not capture request and response payload for security and compliance reasons. Okay, it will not capture. However, some other information about the consumers, the APIs, traffic, targets, those are captured here. Okay, success, failures, all these things. So those kind of data is very, very useful to build different kind of reports for different stakeholders. You can build for developer engagement metrics, you can have the business metrics, some operations also, right? How many success, how many failures, or from API program manager point of view, they can create different reports. Okay, and API monitoring, alerting, and all those kind of things you can easily implement with the help of analytics. Okay, so analytics is a very good feature which comes uh, as part of APG. It is out of box. Okay, you don't have to install something and do anything. Okay, because some other gateways are there which they don't provide analytics by default. You have to either use some other platform or system and use it like this. Okay, then we have mediation engine. So mediation engine is basically the main features that APG has. So the main features of the gateway, so you have security, you have transformation, you have extensions, all these things. So all the features which APG does. So then you have orchestration. So orchestration is nothing but calling multiple services, combining responses, and API abuse prevention. So those kind of things APG provides by default. Okay, as a product. So main processing, this is the main processing engine. So APG processing engine provides you all kind of feature. Now fourth is the different runtime. So APG comes in the different flavors. Okay, so one is like you will get APG on hosted by Google Cloud. So that is what we are going to use for our labs. That is called so that is APG public cloud. Okay, we call it APG public cloud because it is hosted by Google Cloud. Then APG also provides its own complete software. So APG whole software is also provided. Okay, and consumer can use it. Okay, so that is called so that is APG private cloud. So where they will provide the full package, and it is hosted by the APG client. So APG client, whoever is the purchase the license, they will have their data center. So APG hosted in within their data center. Okay, so APG public cloud and APG private cloud both are known as enterprise gateway. So either you will have a public cloud account or you can have a your own cloud. Okay, so that is so that is the, yeah, that is called enterprise gateway. Then apart from that, another flavor, that another APG runtime is that hybrid gateway. And hybrid gateway, what happens is some part is hosted by Google Cloud. Okay, and some part is hosted by your customer. Okay, so APG customer, so they have divided into multiple part. Some part Google Cloud will host and some customer, so they call it hybrid. Okay, then there is something called micro gateway. So micro gateway is like they have built a Node.js module. Okay, so this micro gateway is not independent product. So you have to purchase a license of either enterprise, basically either public cloud license or private cloud license or hybrid license. You have to purchase one of these licenses. Okay, and micro gateway is like it is a free node module, but in order to use this node module, you must have a valid APG enterprise license. Okay, then this micro gateway is nothing but a Node.js you can install within your in the same uh, same LAN or same network as your backend service. So sometime APG is in a different layer, correct? Is a different data center or different layer and your backend. So sometime if the requirement is like your client is also your internal system, there is some internal system which want to consume your backend API. They don't want to go out to internet. So traffic has to be local. You want to manage the everything locally. So then you can install micro gateway. Micro gateway has very basic features, some JWT based OAuth tokens, rate limiting, 3 or 4 features. Okay, so like this. And then same is the Istio adapter. So Istio is also microservices management platform. Okay, it is now called Envoy. So Envoy is like APG has Envoy adapter, so it manages microservices. So you can whatever is micro gateway, same thing is the where with the this Istio adapter or Envoy adapter. Okay, these are nothing, pretty much same thing, that also is Node.js module. Okay, which has the pretty much similar feature. Hosted target is now discontinued. Hosted target is not there anymore. So it is like APG used to provide a Node.js thing also. So for example, I told, right, APG's backend has to be a HTTPS, correct? But APG also used to allow that if the things which APG cannot do, and if you don't have a backend server, if you don't have a backend server or backend system, what you can do is APG will provide you uh, uh, a runtime for Node.js. So any complicated code which APG cannot do, you can put the logic in the Node.js. Okay, that Node.js will act as a backend of APG. So APG API call will come, it will go to the Node.js, okay, which is hosted by APG, and then from Node.js you can do the complex logic. Basically, you can talk to database, you can do message queue, email, or any kind of things which APG doesn't do. Okay, so that was there, but then they discontinued because they focused mainly on the gateway part, because that is additional hosting and all those things. Okay, so this is discontinued. It is only there in APGH public cloud, but they mentioned from in new APGX, in APG hybrid and APG private cloud, everywhere it is discontinued. So you will, I mean, most likely you won't have to use that. Okay, then now logically, so APG Edge has multiple components. So in APG there are multiple components which build the whole platform. Okay, so here when the request comes from the client, so when the request from the client, the runtime traffic, so in the main gateway component, there are two parts. One is the router, okay, one is message processor, MP. So router is nothing but your Nginx. Nginx is they use Nginx as the router. So when the call comes to APG, router will receive the request. Router, as the name suggests, it will only route the traffic. It will not do any functionality. There is nothing much. So it will receive the request. If there is TLS and all, it will just check for TLS certificates, everything. Everything is okay. It will then forward the request to message processor. Okay, that is the role of router. It doesn't do anything else. Okay, all the code execution, whatever we write, all the APG code that we write, policies and everything gets executed in the message processor. It is built in Java. Okay, internet is all built in Java. So message processor is the main component where all your policy execution, code execution, everything happens. Okay, the processing, all the actual request response processing happens in the message processor. So message processor will execute policies, process the request. After processing request, it will call the backend system. Backend system will then give the response. Again, it will have the some policies to process the response. It will process the response. After processing, it will hand it over to router. It will go to client. This is how the runtime traffic flow works. Now, APG uses Cassandra as the platform database. So APG, the code that we write for APG, right? We upload the code. That code is also stored in Cassandra here. Okay, runtime it will execute here in MP, but it will be stored in Cassandra. APG configurations, all the configuration, all the information, all the configuration, API keys, API secret, who is the developer, who is the apps, all API product, all kind of configuration, or any runtime configuration, even caching, all kind of information, everything is in Cassandra. So Cassandra is a platform database. Reason why Cassandra? Because Cassandra by default is a distributed. So usually when you install Cassandra, okay, Cassandra is installed in minimum 3 servers. That is the requirement. When you install Cassandra, you have to install in minimum 3 server. And so that is the benefit, because Cassandra is a replication, automatically replicated. Okay, it is NoSQL database and it is replicated. So even if one Cassandra node is down, other two will be up. Okay, so that is the reason why they use Cassandra, so that it is always up and running, for to basically you can say HA mode, correct, high availability, making sure that high availability is there. Okay, then so Cassandra is the basically platform database. Then when the request comes, APG will dump the data in the there is a queue, Cupid. There is a Apache Cupid. It will dump the data in the queue. Okay. Then from there, APG has its own processor. It will process the queue and put the data in the analytics database. And APG uses Postgres as analytics database. So APG Cassandra is the platform database, but for analytics, Postgres is used as an analytics database. Okay. In APGX, they are now using Google BigQuery. So they're using Google BigQuery in APGX, but usually in normally they use this thing.
Postgres.
Postgres. So Postgres is the analytics database. So it is RDBMS and also from there. So all the analytics APIs and all they did data from here. Now this whole APG platform, okay, if the whole APG platform itself is available as an API. So for example, if you want to make any change in Cassandra, correct, any configuration, you cannot do it. It is not allowed. So everything that you want to do, so all these things is available as an API. Even adding a more MP, adding a more router, adding anything, those kind of thing, everything is available as an API. We call them management API. These are admin level API, correct? Platform API. So if you want to add any configuration, add a new data in the cache, retrieve from the cache, or create a configuration, any kind of thing, or create a consumer, correct? Create a new custom or developer, create a new app, create a new product, any kind of thing. It is all available via management API. So you
So, so you mean that there are different APIs in that management service API, and we have to hit respective API to make any changes?
correct. You cannot directly go and remove a router. You cannot just go and write a like Cassandra query or whatever. Like it is not allowed. Okay, everything you make a call. This is also built in Java. This is also Java built. Okay, built in Java. So you call these APIs. In order to call these APIs, you must have the admin privilege. Correct. You must have admin the APG platform admin credentials. Okay, so these are basically admin level API, platform level API. So you use those, okay, and you consume make the call to those APIs, and those APIs will do the actual configuration task for you, okay.
Okay.
And then APG has a dashboard we call it Edge UI. This is the dashboard that we use for development, okay. So this is built in Play framework. It is a Play framework, okay. I think it is Java based. Play is, yeah, Java based only, okay. So this is built
Yeah.
in Play framework. So this Play framework, so whenever we click on button, so this, when you say for example create a proxy, you click a button to create proxy, it will not actually do anything. It will simply make a management API call, okay, and it will start the process like this. So this UI is just a plain UI. It doesn't have any logic. For every button you click or anything you do, it will internally call management API. Management API will do that thing for you, and then it will simply display the result and all those stuff in a nice UI. Okay, APG dashboard or APG UI. Okay, so this is what we use for our development and all. Okay. Then there is a developer portal. So this is developer portal. So APG also has now provided its own developer portal, okay, but that is a very basic one. Mostly people use Drupal based portal. So APG has built a Drupal based portal which they have made open source now. So many times if someone is using APG based portal, so the developer portal will have a module. That module internally calls these management API, like to create a developer, update developer, right, create a or read API products, create a mobile, create a app, all kind of things. So internally this portal will also call these management APIs, okay, and then management API will perform the thing, or even to get analytics data, right, to get reports, analytics, everything. Everything is accessible via management APIs, okay. So this is how the whole platform is designed, okay.
Okay. Got it.
So yeah, these links anyways we'll go through and all. Now before we go into deeper, so there is one thing which, if you remember, just I told about hybrid. So in hybrid what happens, so as we mentioned, right, these are the two things. So now you see in the runtime, in the API runtime, we have router, we have MP, and we have Cassandra. These
Yeah.
three components are used in the runtime. Others are only from the platform, and they don't, these do not impact runtime, correct. These are not that used, I mean useful during any time. So what APG has done as per their new architecture is that they have created a two different panels, okay, planes they call it. One is called management plane, okay, and one is called runtime plane. So basically these three things, so router, MP, and Cassandra, these three are part of the runtime planes, okay. So the APG created a Kubernetes cluster for these three. So APG creates a Kubernetes cluster. So APG will give their Kubernetes cluster to APG customer. Okay. And that these three components, the runtime plane, okay, their clusters are hosted on the customer data center. Okay. Their platform, their customer data center and all those. Okay. And other components, the management layer components. So like there will be a management Cassandra. Okay, plus there will be a whole management services, correct, all the management APIs, everything, and your analytics, everything will be hosted on the Google Cloud, okay, as part of the management plane. So management plane hosted by uh, Google on APG, okay, and then runtime plane where the actual runtime data happens, that is hosted on the customer, and they will have port open, right? So it is like because it is multi-cloud, correct? You see there is a multi-cloud, it is hybrid. So some cloud here, there are two different cloud platforms available, okay, and there has to be port open. So they need to make sure there are some ports have to be open. So run this APG Google GCP can talk to the customer database, customer data center, customer cloud can talk to GCP and all. So there will be all the internal port openings and everything, okay, that has to be done, okay. And there will be little bit more complicated process as because it is like multi-cloud architecture. So sometimes data is not consistent, sometimes you will not have some information. So little bit there will be, so this is a little bit different compared to other APG flavors, because others are like always in the same cloud, correct? Others are in the same cloud, so there is no problem. But here there are two different cloud altogether. So here difference in architecture, difference in the installation itself. Some of the features that we have, APG features or APG policies, okay, they are implemented in a different way in hybrid as compared to other, okay. So they have I mean they will like a key value maps that might be different in APG uh, edge public cloud compared to the hybrid. But whenever we will uh, cover the topic where there is a difference, so those difference we will explain, and we will see how it is done differently in the hybrid. So those things also we will cover as part of the training, okay. So if something is different in hybrid, we'll cover that, okay, so that you will be aware.